When the Boko Haram insurgency started in 2009, the entire northeast region, especially the three states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, became a serious theater of violent conflict. The group launched several violent attacks in many cities, towns, and also rural communities. Schools, mosques, churches, markets were targeted, attacked, and destroyed. Infrastructure like roads and bridges were attacked and destroyed, severing critical communication between towns, thereby affecting commerce. Electric installations critical to supply of power were destroyed. States like Borno remain without electricity from the national grid for over a decade. By May 2013, thousands of Nigerians have been killed and about 2.3 million others have been displaced from their homes. This situation sparked a serious humanitarian crisis with hundreds of thousands of internally displaced people needing food, water, medical attention, and most importantly, shelter. The northeast region has been devastated and is in need of intervention.
The Commission is charged with the responsibility.
In fulfillment of the campaign promise made to the people of the northeast, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the board of the Northeast Development Commission as one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The NEDC Establishment Act 2017 mandates the Commission to coordinate all the interventions by federal ministries, departments and agencies, and indeed other stakeholders. This coordination is expected to be accomplished within the set rules and regulations of the Northeast Stabilization and Development Masterplan. NEDC Managing Director Muhammad Goni Al-Ghali and other members of the management team immediately swung into action to accomplish an important but very challenging task over a vast region that has been practically destroyed. The immediate task before the management board of the NEDC was to address the pressing needs of the internally displaced people, IDPs, found in the 6 states of Borno, Yobe, Bauchi, Adamawa, Gombe, and Taraba. Food and non-food essential items were purchased and distributed to the states. The NEDC also organized a medical outreach to attend to the crucial health needs of the IDPs. As the NEDC was managing the rehabilitation of the Northeast, the COVID-19 pandemic sadly broke out. The NEDC proactively moved in to construct and equip COVID-19 clinics and testing centers. The Commission also purchased and distributed ambulances, ventilators, personal protective equipment, PPEs, and other medical consumables. In addition to these, the NEDC has built and equipped molecular testing laboratories at the Yobe State Teaching Hospital, Damaturu, Bauchi State Specialist Hospital, Bauchi, Federal Medical Center, Gombe, Adamawa State Specialist Hospital, Yola, Taraba State Specialist Hospital, Jalingo. The Northeast Development Commission started the development of the Northeast region in earnest during the second year after its inauguration. In Borno State, the NEDC constructed 1,000 mass housing unit at Ngwom in Mafa local government area under a presidential initiative. The housing project consists of a block of 4 two-bedroom houses in a cluster fashion, and each block is occupying a 400 square meters perimeter. The 1,000 mass housing project at Ngwom has been completed and commissioned by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, on behalf of President Muhammadu Buhari. The mass housing project has since been handed over to the Borno state government and subsequently to the beneficiaries who have been resettled in their new homes. The Northeast Development Commission has performed the groundbreaking of 500 mass housing projects in the other 5 states of Yobe, Bauchi, Gombe, Adamawa and Taraba. The contracts for the mass housing projects have since been awarded and work has commenced in earnest. The NEDC has built and equipped burn centers at the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital and the Federal Medical Center, Yola. The burn centers were necessitated by the numerous bomb explosions at the peak of the insurgency.
Starting of the 50-kilometer Wagir Mutei Ngalda Road.
In Yobe State, contract for the construction of 50 kilometers Wagir to Mutai to Ngalda road has been awarded in addition to many solar power water projects. In Adamawa State, the Kudzum Bridge, which was destroyed during the early days of the insurgency, has been rebuilt and commissioned. The rebuilding of this bridge and others were a collaboration between the NEDC and the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Road communication has been restored on this important road that facilitates interstate and even international trade and commerce between Nigeria and other neighboring countries. The Northeast Development Commission has built many classroom blocks for primary and secondary schools in the 6 states of the Northeast. The Commission has also purchased and equipped thousands of standard desks and chairs to both primary and secondary schools across the 6 states of the Northeast. These NEDC interventions were subsequent to a need assessment tour and interactions with the state governors. In Bauchi State, 3 mega schools have been constructed and contract for the construction of the Gombe Abba to Kirfi Road in Bauchi has been awarded. Also in Bauchi State, the NEDC has constructed and commissioned a livestock market in Soro. In Gombe State, the NEDC has constructed an elaborate solar system in the Specialist Hospital Gombe, which has enhanced the efficiency of service delivery in the health institution. Several farm centers have been constructed in the state in view of the need of the people who are predominantly farmers. Thousands of agricultural equipment like tractors, harvesters, rice planters, and fertilizer were distributed to farmers in all the 6 states of the Northeast. In Taraba State, several agricultural nurseries stocked with economic plants and environmental protection tree seedlings have been established. Also in Taraba State, the bridge along Mayo Daga Road has been constructed.
The Northeast Development Commission has demonstrated concern for the plight of all the security agencies.
In view of the importance of peace to development, the NEDC has purchased and donated various types of operational vehicles to the security forces who are working to provide stability in the troubled Northeast. Since it came on board, the NEDC has also embarked on many peace-building efforts in order to enhance social cohesion, reconciliation, and peaceful coexistence, which is part of the provisions of the Masterplan. The NEDC has established an Information and Communication Technology Center in each of the 6 states. Over 3,000 beneficiaries, mostly the youths, have been trained in mobile phone repairs, graphics design, and have since established their small businesses and have become self-reliant. In its effort to build capacity and get the citizens gainfully engaged, The NEDC, in collaboration with the Peugeot Automobile Nigeria, PAN, has trained over 200 youths in automobile engineering. The NEDC has an ambitious education endowment fund which is targeting scholarship for the students of the Northeast. 6 billion naira has been set aside by the NEDC for improvement across all sectors of education like infrastructure development and training of teachers. The Northeast Stabilization and Development Masterplan is an all-inclusive roadmap for reconciliation, rehabilitation, reactivation, replacement, reconstruction, resettlement, renewal, regeneration, redevelopment and sustainable growth in the Northeast region. The NEDC Act outlines the process in two parts: baseline studies to establish the extent of damages and needs assessment, and master plan which produces schemes, programs and projects with costs and timeline. Therefore, this stakeholder consultative meeting with ministers, heads of agencies, departments and security agencies on the Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan is very crucial. The NEDC has also been meeting with civil society groups and development partners. Once the master plan is completed and signed, the Northeast Development Commission will be the sole statutory implementing agency of all interventions by all stakeholders for the development of the Northeast region. It is hoped that this interaction will be mutually beneficial and will be for the benefit of the people of the Northeast region who've been battered by over a decade of insurgency.
May I begin by welcoming all invited dignitaries to this consultative meeting on the Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan project. It will be recalled that the NEDC was established by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari as a direct response to the devastation and violence in the Northeast region due to the insurgency. The Commission is charged with the responsibility to recover, stabilize, and develop the region, among others. To achieve the aim of its establishment, the NEDC Act of 2017 provides that the Commission shall develop a master plan based on the needs assessment of the zone to be known as the Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan. The master plan shall contain programs and schemes that will promote and facilitate the physical and socio-economic development of the Northeast region, as well as estimate the time and cost of implementing the program and schemes. The Act also designates the Commission as the focal point to coordinate and harmonize all other interventions, programs, and initiatives that Member States, the federal government, and all stakeholders will execute for the stabilization and development of the region. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, no doubt Borno State, and indeed the other 5 states in the region, are the most critical partners of the NEDC. In addition to the federal MDS, development partners, and private sectors, among others. In order to come up with a robust regional master plan, we consider consultation with the stakeholders as very pertinent toward producing a credible and comprehensive roadmap for recovery and sustainability growth in the Northeast region. During the preceding year 2021, the Commission conducted baseline surveys and held consultation with diverse groups such as grassroots stakeholders in all the 17 LGAs in the state, in Borno State here in June, July, organized private sector, i.e. Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, road transport actors, etc. in August, and rep of the state government in NEC in September. Similar engagements were held with development partners, federal legislators from the Northeast, and the federal MDAs and all our security agencies. Today's joint consultative meeting with all the representative groups of the stakeholders in the state, MDAs, legislators, judiciary, the local official, the security agencies, the traditional rulers, private sector, COOs, ATPs, etc., will be followed by finalization of the draft master plan that will eventually be presented for validation. The essence of having these diverse stakeholders under one roof here, therefore, is harness their individual and collective input to enrich the process and align the NEDC's policy of inclusiveness and bottom-up approach. The proposed 10-year plan consists of 10 pillars, which will encompass the relevant aspects of the Borno State Development Plan and those of other partners in the region. In this meeting, the progress made so far in the Master Plan project will be presented to stakeholders and the input solicited for inclusion in the plan. During the technical session, discussions are expected to focus on schemes, programs, and projects that should be included in the Master Plan to alleviate poverty and create prosperity in the state, in particular, in North region in general. Concerns regarding implementation of Master Plan were completed, including its adaptability and funding windows. Strategies to be adopted to ensure purposeful collaboration, cooperation, coordination, and effective integration between the NEDC, Borno State, and other partners. We should work as a team, but not as a group. Also, to share insights and additional valuable contribution for the Master Plan, particularly regarding prioritization of schemes, programs, and projects. We plead with participants to kindly complete the questionnaires issued to them at the point of registration and return same to us before the end of the meeting today. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, since its inception, the Commission has been enjoying maximum cooperation and support from the Executive Governor of Borno State and all his colleagues from the region. We could not have achieved much without this partnership. Let me use the opportunity to convey our deep appreciation to the Executive Governors for the related patronage of the Commission. Finally, permit me to express our heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency the Governor of Borno State, the Right Honorable Speaker, Borno House Assembly, and all his colleagues, members of the Executive Council of Borno State, our royal fathers, and all the invitees for coming to this meeting. We look forward to having fruitful deliberation through your active participation and insight. We sincerely thank the local organizing committee led by our focal person for the NDC in Borno State, Dr. Mero Mandra, my great sister, highly insightful and always focused, but sometimes possibly critique people. With that note, thank you and God bless you all. Thank you.
Considering that the NEDC was able to identify about 18 different specialists, these specialists were put together to come out with the development of the master plan. But we realized that the first thing that we need to do, first and foremost, is to make sure that we have a very solid NEDC itself. So the starting point was establishing an enterprise strategy for NEDC, to come out with a framework that can enable NEDC to be on a strong footing, to be able to deliver the master plan. Then the next thing is to identify the vision for the region for 2030. And then we deploy all our consultants to go out to collect data, to undertake what we call the baseline studies. But during the baseline studies, it is not only going out to mine primary data, we also have to consult all the states and mine all their master plans, because we are aware that most of the states in the region have already existing master plans. So we mopped up those master plans in order to identify schemes, projects, and programs, including time and costing for these schemes, projects, and programs. And these are what are going to be contained in the document that we call the master plan itself. But while we're doing that, we have continuous engagement, as the MD said, consultation with all the stakeholders across board. These stakeholders range from the grassroots stakeholders. The MD has mentioned we've been to every local government in the region, and then we also engage with the traditional institutions to give us the gateway to establish grassroots stakeholders. We obtain data from the grassroots. We also obtained data from organizations, including the private sector, in each and every state in the region. We had the HDPs, the humanitarian development partners, the CSOs. I remember we had a meeting here with the CSOs in Maiduguri, where we collected all the CSOs in the region to congregate in Maiduguri. We also had a discussion with the federal MDAs in Abuja and the federal legislators. And then now we are doing the full engagement with the states. We have already been to Gombe, we have done Bauchi, we have done Yobe, we are today doing Borno State. And within the next few days, we are also going to Adamawa and Taraba to do exactly the same thing that we're doing here today. These engagements are actually going to mop up and identify what we have done so far, where are the gaps, what have we missed. Now we're putting it to you to tell us exactly where those gaps are. And then we can mop up those gaps to now have a comprehensive bottom-up master plan, not a top-down master plan. And once we do that, then we can take this master plan for a global validation, where we get all global stakeholders to engage and now input also to refine the final document before I believe the board of the NEDC will now launch that master plan. But to also tell you, it's not just strategic mapping that we're doing. All our 18 consultants have also been going out mining primary data. That means they've gone across the whole of the region trying to obtain data on specific sectors, because each of the 18 consultants are working in separate specialist sectors. This is just an example of the fact that evidence that the fact that we have been to all of these local governments, because we use the COBO toolbox that enable us to have evidence that this actually have taken place. And based on that, we're able to define, with the consultation with NEDC itself, the vision or the targets that we'd like to hit by the time we get to 2030. The first one is obviously we want to increase the GDP. We want Northeast region to be among the top tier compared to the other 5 regions in the country. We want to increase the GDP per growth, at least 5% above GDP growth. And then we also want to improve the regional human development index, life expectancy, education, the negative things that I've talked about earlier. But one other key important aspect that we feel is critical is the issue of improvement of gender equality. We want to bring the female gender in a full throttle to actually deliver this master plan. Because we believe that even if you take 100% of the male, you can only get 50% of the population. Our aim is to have at least 70% of citizens of Northeastern region to be productive citizens. So without us getting the female gender up and going and also be competitors, not competition, but engagements and...
No doubt, the master plan is intended to provide a roadmap for development, resuscitating and addressing our battered infrastructure and facilities as a result of decade-long insurgency that bedeviled the entire Northeast region. As you will recall, it is on record that Borno State recorded the most devastation from the insurgency, and therefore deliberate measures aimed at addressing the menace will be highly appreciated. Let me also inform this gathering that the inputs being submitted here today for inclusion in this master plan are inclusive and derived from all government sectors and are in synergy with the 25 years development plan of Borno State and 10-year strategic transformation agenda of the administration of His Excellency Engineer Professor Babagana Umar Azam. Permit me to also appreciate the Northeast Development Commission for its numerous interventions in Borno State, especially in the areas of peace building, resettlement, and the reintegration process. These supports would have come at a better time than now, when the state is being saddled with a lot of challenges in the face of dwindling resources. On this note, let me assure the Northeast Development Commission of the unflinching support of the Borno State House of Assembly towards actualization of this noble objective. In conclusion, I call on all and sundry to support this laudable initiative and to wish us all a successful deliberation.
We would also like to, for the purpose of sustainability, involve the CSOs as a third-party monitoring agency in all of your projects, because anything we do, if there is no sustainability, it is something that we put on ground, and in just a moment or some time, this thing will vanish. I believe the CSOs will be a true agent of sustainability in our society. I have seen by the coordinator, he has raised a lot of questions, particularly on the industrialization of our community. I want to believe our communities are not devoid of industries. We have a lot that
guide the conduct of whatever activity, considering the timeline provided. The timeline, if well followed, and by God's grace, with the caliber of resource, with the caliber of manning the NEDC, I'm sure the whole thing is achievable. It is actually ambitious, it is laudable, it is really commendable, and I think by God's grace, it is attainable. On this, I please pray that we continue to pray for the success of our region. Pray for all the successes so that we'll be able to attain and ensure that the region itself gets back its lost glory. Not only that, but fits in appropriately into the prevailing digital session of the world. On behalf of the economic on behalf of our forum, the Security Forum, I wish to most sincerely thank the NEDC for the well thought out master plan. And I pray that by Allah's will, Allah will continue to guide us.
I extend to you the warm regards of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, who actually wanted to be here, but due to other pressing national assignments, had to send me to represent her. As has been said by previous speakers, the act of the NEDC, particularly Article 8, align with the saying that if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. Decided right from the beginning that the NEDC should have the Northeast Development Master Plan. It is for this reason that this exercise is being conducted. But as we have seen in the short film clip, and from the various testimonies by people who have spoken before me, even before this plan came, there were a lot of emergency and urgent works that had to be done. And the NEDC has not disappointed. The minister is proud, as a supervising minister, to see that NEDC has hit the ground running, even before the finalization of this plan. I will take all the testimonies that I've heard from various people of how NEDC is leaving its footsteps in the northeastern states. Permit me at this juncture to thank His Excellency, the Governor of Borno State and the government of Borno State for the assistance and cooperation that they have been rendering to the NEDC. As has been pointed out, the work in the north cannot be achieved without the support of the government of those states. The NEDC is to complement, to cooperate, and to coordinate with all the development plans that these states have. In that line, I would like to assure Borno State government that the Nesdmp, when it comes out, it will take in all the plans of all the states that have in place, as well as the strategic transformation plan of Borno State, the 10-year strategic plan. Permit me also to ensure all the stakeholders, women organizations, private sector, that the NEDC will take in the views of all the relevant stakeholders. To borrow the word of the NGO spokesman who said, NEDC will not shame anybody in his absence. You will all have a stake. You will all have to contribute. In that line, I will call on all the stakeholders during the technical session to please feel free to give your views for any correction, any addition, any modification for the plan that is going to be done. On that note, I thank you all, and once more, I give you the warm regards of the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Thank you.
distinguished invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have the instruction of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, who is unavoidably absent and traveled to Abuja at the instance of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Federal Armed Forces, at Abuja this morning. And I read his speech. I am profoundly pleased to address you on this auspicious occasion organized by the Northeast Development Commission to primarily elicit inputs from the target's beneficiary into its specially designed master plan as part of its determined efforts to carry out its statutory responsibilities. The Commission decisions to convene this meeting was largely informed by the compelling need to actively involve all critical stakeholders in the process of addressing this horrendous and excruciating devastation and destruction caused by the Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast. The major impact of the insurgency was, however, much more serious in the three contiguous states of Adama, Borno, and Yobe states, but more profound in Borno State, being the epicenter of the insurgency. I hope the Commission would consider this factor as a major determinant in the rebuilding process. As has been clearly indicated time and again, the primary purpose of the Commission is to ensure the rehabilitation, resettlement, and integration of the internally displaced persons, as well as the reconstruction of infrastructural facilities and public structures destroyed by the insurgency in the affected states. It is furthermore mandated to address the challenges of poverty and illiteracy as well as environmental and other associated problems in the Northeast. It is therefore of strategic importance for stakeholders to essentialize these critical factors in coming up with viable, pragmatic, and relevant input into the Commission's master plan. In the case of Borno State, I have already approved the constitution of a high-powered committee to come up with the necessary input, taking into cognizance the level of destruction and the extent of the physical and psychological trauma inflicted on our people as a result of the insurgency. Without prejudice to the committee's work, I would like to urge the Commission to also look into the possibility of complementing government efforts in developing and implementing viable and workable strategies on how best to address the current challenges posed by the thousands of repentant Boko Haram members who are currently being camped in the state capital. On a final note, I would like to commend the Northeast Development Commission for organizing this important meeting and its tremendous efforts so far in addressing some of the challenges facing the state in the wake of the insurgency, and also meeting the yearnings and aspirations of the people of Borno State and the Northeast in general. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, what we are expecting in this master plan, the 10-year master plan, is exactly going to address this, the insurgency effects. We know the level of devastation we had in the Northeast. Lives were destroyed, infrastructure, livelihoods, critical infrastructure. So the master plan is going to address all this, all the sectors that you can think of, from health, education, agriculture, industrialization, and even empowerment, which is very important as far as the region is concerned. So this is what we expect, that the master plan is going to put forward schemes, strategies, programs, and projects that will be implemented over time in phases to address the rot that we find ourselves in as a result of the insurgency, as well as boost economic growth and sustainable development. And one of the 10 pillars of the master plan is peaceful society and security and peaceful society. As a commission, an MDA, we are not going to engage in kinetic aspect of addressing security. That is left to the security agencies, of course. But we are going to support in non-kinetic ways to support their operations. That is one. That is to directly address the insecurity. But there are also other boosters of security in the region. For example, unemployment is a bane, is our bane. You have heard the number of percentage of unemployed youth, out-of-school children who are already adults. So the Commission will put in place measures that will support the security agencies to help them address the kinetic aspect of tackling the menace. But in addition, we are going to have peace-building efforts, peace-building and social cohesion. And one of the topmost catalysts for boosters of security is getting employment for the youth. So the master plan is going to focus on employment generation methods, ways and means of getting people engaged, so that they will gainfully be active and not participate in other vices, not only insecurity but other vices of the society. So when you get the youth gainfully employed, you have less drug traffickers off the road, you have less violence. Alhamdulillah, kamar yadda aka sani, yau muna Maiduguri. Satin da ta shige mun je irin wannan taron a Gombe, mun je Bauchi, mun je Damaturu. To yau kuma ga mu a Maiduguri, wanda jiha ce ta hudu a cikin jihohin da suke arewa maso gabas na ƙasar nan. So jihar Borno ita ce ta fi shan wahala. Duk kashe-kashen da aka yi yawanci a nan ne muke da jama'a, dimbin jama'a miliyoyi a cikin wato masu gudun hijira suna zama a IDP camps. So wannan taswirar namu na raya yankin arewa maso gabas na Najeriya zai sa muhimmanci sosai akan fidda shirye-shirye musamman na a samu a tallafa wannan masu gudun hijira, kowa ya samu ya koma inda yake, ko kuma inda suka zaɓa za su zanna kai su taimaka musu da gidaje, inda suka je sun zaɓi su zanna can. Kasan akwai da yawan mutane daga Borno sun je ko Gombe ko Bauchi, to inda suke din sun ƙara nauyi wa yankunan da suka je, so dole a ƙara makarantu da asibitoci da sauransu. So amma muhimmin dai maganan samun aiki, samawa matasa aiki musamman. So akwai shirye-shirye masu dama wanda za a bi a tallafa matasa su samu ayyukan yi. Jihar Borno ta ba mu bukatunsa a hannu, to kaga sun sauwaka mana aiki. Mun zo ne dama mu yi shawara da su okay, ga abin da muke kawowa ya kuka gani, amma kamin ma mu shiga wancan zangon su sun riga sun yi kwamiti, babban kwamiti wanda ta yi aiki a kan bukatun da su suke so a musu a saka a wannan taswiran. Shine yanzu wanda ya zo madadin mai girma gwamna ya kawo mana ya bamu. To idan mun koma kaga an sauwaka mana aiki, mun zai mu tambaya mai ake so, ga abin da mu muke so a saka mana. Ko abin da zan faɗa dai shine za a yi duk abin da ya kamata insha Allah, iya inda karfin hukumar mu yake, za a tallafa jihar Borno musamman a wannan tafiyar.